Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a very special guest. I met him on Twitter and I instantly saw his tweet and I instantly liked the game that he was working on. It reminded me a lot of modern day RuneScape. If any of you guys haven't played RuneScape, it's an amazing MMORPG game. So without any further ado, I would love to introduce Theo the Dev. Theo, let me get started about the game that you're currently working on, right? I reached out to you telling that it looks like a cool modern day version of RuneScape. So, what was the idea behind making your game? Where did you get inspired from, or what is the essentially the story behind coming up with this game idea?
Yeah, so the story of this game and how it came up, it's not this simple. Actually, there was a quite large press story for this game. Before it was called Iconics. It was more like a MOBA, just in browser. And during developing this game, I learned almost everything I needed for making a real WebGL game. And at that point, I understood that project was way too large and it was very hard to finish that game. And I switched to the current state of the game, which is called Dead. You can play it. The demo link is available. And the thing is, the idea of the game was developing during the development. It was changing time to time. The main idea was to get hordes of undead attacking your base. The idea was changing from P2P PvP game where players fight in the zombie apocalypse world between each other. Then it moved more to tower defense like game with Dota vibe and RuneScape, as you mentioned before. The games I used to play a lot. And it was transforming all the time. As for me, it's not the best idea always to keep the initial idea because during the development, obviously, you get more knowledge, you understand the industry better, and it's better to include these new ideas and improve the game itself. But not to you probably don't need to go too far because it will be a feature creep where there will be too many different features which you will never finish. Something like this. Yeah.
That's a very interesting point that you bring, primarily because when we are working on a game, we tend to overdo a lot of things, right? So, how did you keep track of all the tasks that you're supposed to finish, and how long did it take for you to finish the game from idea stage to a shipped version?
So as for now, it's not final version. As you saw, I try to post each week the updates I'm doing. I was aiming for a 7 day cycle of an update, but in reality, it's more like 10 days. And it's a playable version which gets more features each week, and like weapons, new monsters, etc. But the whole core game idea which I have in mind, also with new ideas which come up time to time, it's not there yet. And about tracking the features, like I have the like list of core features which are must have, which I need to do for sure. And this list is like moving with me during the whole development, just changing just a bit. Like if you need to have multiplayer, you have to implement it anyway. All the other features, smaller features, effects, and stuff like this, it's probably planned maximum 20 days upfront. I have some sort of a backlog where I keep nice ideas, but the planning is done for next two sprints, which are 10 days each. So something like this, yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned that's a very interesting process that you're following. You mentioned that you kind of divide all these tasks into various different sprints, right? So can you tell the audience
Mhm.
what sort of tools you use in your entire process, and probably something that they could use themselves, or something that you are comfortable with?
Yeah, because I work mostly by myself. Time to time, I have some people get paid to do some stuff like models or something. But the coding itself is done by me, and Trello is enough for me. It's just a standard board, agile board, and yeah, it's very useful to track even the smallest tasks. Not so much for keeping track. I mean, when you finish bunch of tasks, it's just like trash. You can remove them, but I keep all of the sprints which are finished uh, to sometimes spend some time, check them, and like, wow, I am so good. Yeah, just to keep the motivation going. So I made the first public version available probably in September. And initially I was planning to do it start of June. So it's quite a while delayed. And from June till now, there's almost 700 tasks finished in my Trello board. Yeah.
Congratulations to you on that. And you mentioned that
Yes, thanks.
when I reached out to you, you mentioned that you're working on this game and you're building this in public. Right. So for our viewers, can you just explain what is this entire build in public concept and how has it helped or perhaps not helped you in any way?
I need to say that it helped a lot. The idea is it's not like open source or something. It's that any change you do, it's published as soon as possible. There's kind of no policy of lots of testing at the moment because it's not released, not all features are there. You can consider this as early access in Steam. At least I consider like this. And while posting this online all the time and getting it available for the players to test at once, you get quite a lot of feedback, and it actually did help me to improve my game, like a lot, because even a small amount of people, they give you very valuable feedback that you don't need this. I mean, it's not that important. Give us like something else. And if I was doing it by myself somewhere without sharing with anybody, I will be doing that complicated thing which nobody needs. And it makes your target much closer and realistic.
Absolutely. And just to understand, what has been one of the feedback that has been given to you that during development you didn't even think of that this could be possible? You know, what is that one feedback that you might have received so far that has been a game changer for your game per se?
I guess it's the feeling of the game, the shooting impact, the hit impact, all these small details, they are very valuable. And before I was like, it just should be there, nothing special. And this changed my ideas, how I consider this like shooting even small particles or small effects if they are not enjoyable, if they don't bring the juicy feedback when the players enjoys this impact of hitting something or something like this, it's you can skip implementing it because it doesn't give any additional value to your game.
Uh,
Probably this is what's the most important.
and are you also working on some haptic feedback for the game? You mentioned about SFX and all. Have you received any feedback on implementing haptic feedback within your game?
So if talking about feedback for effects, I was also sharing in public quite some effects like level up or something like this, and without making it available live, just as a video. And actually, yeah, people were giving me advices like it's this is not very visible. This is something too small particles or something like this. And I was checking this feedback, and my first reaction was, "No, why? It's awesome. I mean, why do I need to change something?" I went to bed. I got up. I checked this effort, and I was like, "They have their point." Yeah, and it improved a lot of stuff like this, even without finishing them, just in process of development.
And I assume this might not be the first game that you've developed, right? You might have some history of developing your games. So can you talk a little bit about what kind of games you've worked on, whatever you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, so I work mostly with web games. As you probably saw, I had the passion to make a game, but I never wanted to deal with this Unity, Unreal engines. I mean, I work with them, I can use them, but I don't have any desire to use them. And as for web games, I developed a couple of EO games and a bit more for myself or for clients. I guess the most successful one was Dead 10 game. It's not available right now. I closed it quite a while when the IO games stopped being popular. Uh, I at that time I didn't consider it as a large success, but there were quite some successful days when there were like 10K users per day. So it was quite nice project. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, 10K per day is actually a quite impressive number if you look at it. So congratulations to you on that. Which
Yep.
brings me to a question that I personally have. Now, you are targeting an audience that is slightly different than what most of the mass game developers are.
Exactly. Mhm.
A lot of developers are focusing on PC, console, or a vast majority of them are focusing on mobile. So, what's your thesis on choosing and going after the web market?
Yeah, that's actually a very nice question. Sometimes I cannot say that I get this question often, but sometimes I do. And it's quite easier to answer. It's for people of my age and generation who used to play a lot of games, but we don't have enough time to play them as we did. And for example, I have in the second room my Xbox X to play games, but I need to plan today evening or tomorrow evening. I need to have 2 hours free to play. If I'll have less time, then probably I won't play. Games like this, same for Steam games. Obviously, it's maybe faster to start them, but still, if you have like 30 minutes available, only 30 minutes, you probably won't start games standard ones like God of War or something. And these games, web games, they are perfect for this. If you have a break, like 20, 30 minutes, even 10 minutes, you just enter the site, click play, and 8 seconds, and you play the game. So it's like mid-core slash new players slash players who used to play. So it's a bit different niche from the standard games.
Yeah. And no, you talked about reaching your right set of audience, but on the other side, how has been the monetization of web games? Can you shed a little bit of a light on how you will be able to monetize, and any advice for any aspiring web game developers to get into the market?
Yeah, so I'll answer this question. It probably won't be something super new for a majority of people. The ways are quite standard uh, for multiplayer games. If web game is single player, actually, I don't know whether it's a good idea to make a single player game in web. Like, uh, yeah, and if we are talking about multiplayer, my idea is to have not like a pay to win strategy because it it may give quite nice revenue, but I'm a gamer myself and I hate these things. Same with NFT and the Web3 games. There are quite a lot of hype a couple of years with this type of games, and I'm not a fan. It sounds like most for me like a scam. And I want to provide my users with slight monetization, which will be also interesting and valuable. Something like interesting quests and battle pass plus cosmetics, but which won't impact the game a lot, which won't make you feel a loser if you don't pay. So yeah, maybe it won't be as profitable as it could be, but I don't care. It's my game. I do whatever I want.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that fact that you should make games that you are happy with, because there's no point in doing something that you love and then doing something that's just for the heck of it, right? So I really
Yeah,
appreciate
exactly.
that. The other part is that when you were growing up, you obviously being a game developer, we love games, right? So what have been your favorite games growing up over the ages, and what has been one game that has impacted your life a lot?
Uh, I guess the game which actually made me want to be a game developer, which I wanted to develop myself, but after I understood that it is too complicated to make such stuff by myself, it was a strategy game called Stronghold Crusader 2. No, it was not 2, it was 1. It's just 2D sprite strategy. I played in resolution 7 720 by something. It was all the desktop computer, and when I was playing it, I was like, "Wow, I want to make things like this." It's just very impressive for me. After I was playing also quite some games like Warcraft, Frozen Throne. Uh, I didn't enjoy Dota as much, but Warcraft was also one of the top list games for me in my childhood. And after there were quite a lot of games, but I cannot name any other which made so much impact as these two done for me.
Fantastic. And from your Twitter profile, I read you're from Poland.
Yeah, right now I'm in Poland, but originally I'm from Ukraine.
Okay, so how has been the game development scenario in your respective country?
In both countries, game development is quite nice. But it's not like super popular. There are companies who develop games. Some of them do kind of legendary games and not very like CD Projekt Red. You probably know about them, and the Witcher game as the third one, which is awesome. I have it on my Xbox. I still play it. It's super nice. And even my girlfriend does. She plays even more than me. And Cyberpunk 2077, which was not as good on the beginning, but which came up quite nice right now. And the industry goes up and down. It's not very stable in general. If you make some failed project, even if you were a quite good company, it's quite hard to get back on track. Same for Ukrainian companies. It's hard to compete with the world. And as you know, gamers are quite often toxic, quite toxic people. But quite often they have the right to be toxic. Uh, so it's kind of balance between luck, hard work, and uh, yeah, and your ideas, how good your ideas are.
Yeah. And what have been some of the key differences that you've observed in your life, first when you were a gamer and now when you are a game developer? Has your outlook towards games changed?
Yeah, it did. When I played the games, I didn't realize how to make them. I was like, this game looks like I don't know, maybe a month of work. Right now, still, when I need to make a scope of the game and some timelines, I can say like much smaller game, super simple. It's like maybe 3 months of work, 6 months of work, but usually I mistake like 2 times. So when I make the approximate time of development, usually I multiply it by two to get the real timeline.
Yeah. And how has your experience been with the meeting deadlines? You know, a lot of time we set deadlines for a particular task, but they tend to get overboard. Do you kind of how do you keep yourself motivated throughout the entire development process, especially when you are a solo developer, right? What is your factor?
Yeah, so the core idea is to have in mind like ship all the time. This idea, I mean, even if not in public, you need to ship for yourself or for your friends or something. Because if you don't ship anything, you don't actually know how much broken it is. Because the main issue of the developer is that when he tests or plays the game, he knows all the details and he never presses the button which actually breaks the game. Because he know you don't need to press that game, that button. When you give this game to somebody else, the first thing he will do is he will press this button. I guarantee you. And if talking about estimating the timelines and deadlines, uh, I can say I'm doing much better at the beginning. But still, like for smaller tasks which are short term, it's quite easy to make the estimates. Uh, Mostly, I'm quite accurate with this. But when talking about long period, for example, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 1 year, 1 year is not possible to predict. It's hard to make the approximation because you estimate that you work like kind of each day with same productivity, and it is not like this in real life. And When you face with downs, when you move slowly, it just doesn't develop. You have some crisis. The average performance drops 2 times, or sometimes even more if you count like trips, vacation, holidays, and I don't know. Especially if you have kids, it's I don't know how to predict stuff like this. So yeah, it's quite hard. Especially it's hard to approximate when you have quite large performance. So if you go steady quite slowly, it's easier to predict. But if you go like super fast and the velocity is large, you crack task by task and suddenly you stop. The average goes slow, and it's much harder than steady but slower.
Basically, what you're trying to say is to if you're going fast, you have to maintain that momentum, and if that momentum loses, then you lose track of the project. So that's actually
Yeah.
quite a good advice, actually. The other part of the question is, now that you are building in public, have you also explored certain conferences wherein you go and showcase this game physically to people? And have you like observed people in front of you playing the game?
I did. I did. And mm, So it's a strange feeling when you want to say all the time like, no, don't go there, don't go there, don't buy that weapon, it's not that good. Like, but they need to learn this by themselves.
So how is the feeling of resisting yourself to get involved? What is like the mental block that you face when you're seeing a player in front of you? I look at it from a perspective that you've like you're trying to teach them how to play the game without actually talking to them. So what is that entire process like? What goes on in your head when such a thing happens in front of you?
Uh, like the goal idea is when I see somebody playing, like you are doing everything wrong at the beginning. But once they start to understand what they are doing and what they're supposed to do, it gets much easier. You like, oh, now you understand this now. Especially tutorial, which I added quite recently, helped a lot because it eliminated half of the questions for the player. And yeah, the like any hints, any tutorial is super boring to implement. You can consider this as a not important stuff which can be added like in the end. Like I agree with you that it can be added in the end, like partially, but because the game can change. But it's in ideal world. In reality, edit as a tutorial, it will make your life way simpler. Because uh, you need to show your game quite often to players, to testers, to investors, to anybody, any sort of people. At some point you still need to show it. And a good tutorial which works, it will change the feeling of the game. Because when the player goes into the game and he doesn't understand what to do, one, he most likely will drop the game if you are not standing behind his back. Second, if he still plays, he will be a bit frustrated that he doesn't understand anything, like, and he is like just frustrated and goes away. So tutorials are important.
100%, 100%. And Theo, any advice that you have for aspiring game developers who want to get into this field and make their career in game development?
Probably, if you are not very interested in this, if you have an idea, it's nice to be a game developer. I would like to be a one, but you then don't have the passion. Consider this idea like 5 times, 10 times, because I saw quite a lot of people who get into the industry. They are like, oh, it's nice, but they don't have the consistency. It's not like a job. It's like building a skyscraper by yourself and nobody helps you. No, actually, they do like some forums, ChatGPT, for example, right now. You won't be alone, but quite often you'll get this feeling that nobody needs this stuff if you are an indie game developer. And if you are not passionate, it would be almost not impossible to finish your game. So it's a rough journey.
Fantastic, Theo. This was an amazing conversation. Guys, check out Theo's game. The links are in the description. And also follow him on Twitter. He posts about his game very frequently. I follow him personally. So, guys, go ahead and follow him over there. And once the game is out completely, support the game. And even right now, when he's building in public, provide him all the feedback that you can give him, because it will be very helpful for him to improve the game further on. And Theo, I thank you for taking out time to do this interview on my channel, and I hope that all the advice that you shared over here proves useful to my audience. So thank you very much, Theo, for coming in on my channel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.